Hello, curious minds. Welcome to this intellectual journey. When we think of theater, one name almost always comes to mind first: Shakespeare. His plays are undoubtedly cornerstones of world literature, but what if I told you that his way of storytelling is just one of many? What if there were theatrical traditions just as profound, but operating with a completely different code? Today, we're going to decipher the hidden code of two masters whom the Western world barely knows. We'll travel to ancient India and medieval Japan to find a theater not based solely on words, but on rhythm, spirit, and pure emotion. A theater that sought to transform the spectator, not just entertain them. Get ready to meet Kalidasa and Ziami Motokiyo. This isn't just a history lesson, it's an invitation to expand our definition of what art can be. For a moment, forget witty dialogues and complex plots. We're going to explore a world where a glance, a gesture, or the sound of a flute can contain entire universes. Are you ready for this journey? Before we begin, I wanted to tell you something about the visuals you're seeing. To bring this narration to life, I've used artificial intelligence tools to generate the images. So think of them as a canvas, a way to illustrate the ideas and atmosphere of what I'm telling you. They won't always be an exact or literal representation, but rather a visual accompaniment to help your imagination soar with mine. I sincerely hope you enjoy it. To understand the theater of Kalidasa and Ziami, we must first recalibrate our minds. Western theater, to a great extent, focuses on conflict and individual psychology. We see characters grapple with their inner demons and external rivals through brilliant language. It's a powerful tradition, but its emphasis is on action and words. In contrast, the traditions we'll explore today focus on atmosphere and collective experience. Their goal isn't so much to tell a story as to evoke a mood, a specific emotion in each person in the audience. It's an art of total immersion, where silence can be more eloquent than the most beautiful soliloquies. Our first destination is India around the 4th or 5th century CE. Here, at the zenith of the Gupta Empire, a period of unprecedented cultural and scientific flourishing, lived a poet and playwright whose name resonates through the centuries: Kalidasa. He is often called the Shakespeare of India, and for good reason. But comparing Kalidasa to Shakespeare can be a bit misleading. While Shakespeare wrote for a boisterous audience at the Globe Theatre, Kalidasa crafted his works for royal courts and temples. His audience wasn't just seeking entertainment, they sought an aesthetic and spiritual experience. And Kalidasa delivered exactly that. Sanskrit theater, the tradition in which Kalidasa wrote, wasn't governed by plot in the sense we understand it. It was governed by a fundamental concept called rasa. The word rasa can be translated as flavor, essence, or juice. It is the pure emotion that a work of art should cultivate in the spectator. Think of it this way. A chef doesn't just mix ingredients, they aim to create a specific flavor, a distinct palate experience. In the same way, a Sanskrit playwright like Kalidasa didn't just string scenes together. He orchestrated every element, from poetry to music and dance, to produce a dominant rasa in the audience. There were 8 main rasas, which included love, humor, compassion, anger, heroism, fear, disgust, and wonder. Each play was carefully constructed to guide the audience through an emotional journey culminating in the experience of one of these pure essences. The success of the play depended on whether it managed to evoke this rasa. Kalidasa's most famous work, The Recognition of Shakuntala, is the perfect example of this. It tells the love story between King Dushyanta and the hermitess Shakuntala, who are separated by a curse that makes the king forget his beloved. The plot is beautiful, but the true genius of the play lies in how it handles the rasa of love. Kalidasa doesn't just tell us they're in love. He immerses us in Sringara Rasa, the flavor of erotic and romantic love, through poetic descriptions of nature, dialogues filled with longing, and the sheer beauty of the characters themselves. Nature itself becomes a mirror of their emotions, an active participant in their romance. Acting in Sanskrit theater was incredibly stylized. Realism was not the goal. Actors used a complex language of hand gestures, known as mudras, and body movements to communicate emotions and narrate the story. Every movement had a precise meaning, part of this shared code between the actor and the audience. The aim was to create a total experience. Kalidasa's exquisite poetry, evocative music, colorful costumes, and symbolic dance all combined to transport the spectator to an elevated state of consciousness. Theater was a ritual, a way to connect with the divine through beauty and emotion. So Kalidasa's code is rasa. It's not about what happens in the story, but how it makes you feel. It's an art of emotional engineering designed to purify the spectator's spirit and leave them with a sense of wonder and fulfillment. A radically different conception of theater from our own. Now let's take a deep breath and travel almost 1,000 years into the future and thousands of miles to the east. We leave vibrant and colorful India to land in 14th century Japan, during the Muromachi period. Here, power rested in the hands of the shoguns, the warlords, and the dominant aesthetic was that of the samurai. In this world of discipline, control, and a profound appreciation for transient beauty, one of the most refined and enigmatic art forms in the world emerged, Noh theater. And its principal architect was a man named Zeami Motokyo, who was not only a legendary actor and playwright, but also a brilliant theorist. If Kalidasa sought to evoke vibrant and universal emotions through rasa, Zeami sought something much more subtle, more mysterious. The key concept in Noh theater, the heart of its code, is yugen. This Japanese word has no direct translation, but is often described as a deep, subtle, and mysterious beauty. Imagine watching a boat slowly disappear behind a distant island in the fog, or contemplating the beauty of a flower you know will wither tomorrow. Yugen is not in the object itself, but in the emotion it evokes, in the suggestion of a world that lies beyond the visible. It is the beauty of the implicit of what is left unsaid. Noh theater is designed to be the perfect vehicle for yugen. Everything in it is minimalist and symbolic. The stage is a nearly bare cypress wood structure, with a single pine painted in the background. There are no realistic sets. The audience must use their imagination to fill in the gaps. Actors move with deliberate, almost glacial slowness. Every step, every turn of the head is a choreographed art form called kata. There are no casual movements. The goal is not to imitate life, but to distill its essence into a pure and elegant form. It is a ritual in motion. And then there are the masks. No masks are masterpieces of sculpture. Made of cypress wood, they are designed to be neutral. However, through the actor's skill and the play of light and shadow, the same mask can appear to smile, weep, or meditate. It's a magical illusion. The mask conceals the actor's individuality, allowing them to become a channel for the spirit of the character, who is often a ghost, a god, or a legendary figure. By looking at the mask, the audience doesn't see a person, but an archetype, a universal idea of grief, joy, or madness. Noh stories often revolve around a traveler, usually a monk, who encounters a tormented spirit at a famous location. The spirit in the second part of the play reveals its true form and relives the moment of its suffering or glory. There is no grand conflict to resolve, only the contemplation of a powerful emotion trapped in time. Noh music is equally eerie and evocative. It consists of a chorus, a flute, and 3 types of drums. The music doesn't create catchy melodies, but punctuates the silence, building a tension and atmosphere that are fundamental to the experience. The sound of a single drum beat can resonate with profound meaning. Zeami wrote that the Noh actor must seek the flower. The flower is that magical moment of perfect connection between the actor and the audience, when yugen manifests and everyone in the theater feels that deep, mysterious beauty. It is a state of grace that is ephemeral, like a flower, and thus so precious. So Zeami's code is yugen. It's not a direct emotion like rasa, but an invitation to look beyond the surface. It's an art of subtraction, where beauty resides in what is omitted. Noh theater teaches us that the deepest art doesn't shout, it whispers. So what's the big twist? What's the secret that unites Kalidasa in his opulent Indian court and Zeami on his austere Japanese stage? Both understood that theater could be much more than an imitation of reality. Both saw it as a technology of the spirit. The hidden code of ancient theater is not a secret formula, but a perspective. It is the understanding that the stage can be a sacred space, a laboratory for exploring human consciousness. Kalidasa achieved this through the sensory saturation of rasa, flooding the audience with pure emotions. Zeami, on the other hand, achieved it through emptiness and the suggestion of yugen, inviting the audience to find meaning in silence and stillness. One is an art of fullness, the other an art of emptiness. But both paths lead to the same destination, a transcendent experience that changes you. These traditions challenge us. They ask if we are willing to listen to silence, to feel an emotion in its purest form, to use our imagination as a muscle. They remind us that sometimes the most powerful stories are not those told, but those felt. This is the legacy of Kalidasa and Zeami. It's not about saying one form of theater is better than another. Shakespeare is a genius for his mastery of language and human psychology, but Kalidasa and Zeami are geniuses for their mastery of atmosphere and spiritual experience. They are simply 2 different languages for expressing the truths of the human heart. The next time you go to the theater, or even watch a movie, try to look beyond the plot. Ask yourself, what emotion is the artist trying to evoke? What is the rasa or yugen of this work? You might discover a new layer of meaning, a hidden code waiting to be deciphered just beneath the surface. Theater is a map of the human soul, and each tradition is a different continent to explore. Today we've only visited 2, but there are many more. Each with its own rituals, its own masks, and its own secrets. The journey to understand the art of storytelling is infinite. We've seen how Kalidasa used a language of abundance to evoke rasa, the emotional flavor. His theater is a feast for the senses, full of poetry, color, and music, designed to bring the audience to a state of aesthetic ecstasy. It is a celebration of emotion in its most vivid and expansive form. Conversely, we've explored how Zimi utilized a language of restraint to cultivate yugen, that mysterious and subtle beauty. His theater is a meditation, an exercise in minimalism where every element is essential and every silence is charged with meaning. It is an art that finds depth in simplicity. These two philosophies, the fullness of rasa and the suggestive emptiness of yugen, represent two poles of the human artistic experience. They are not opposites but complementary. Both show us that the ultimate goal of art is not just to represent the world, but to create a new world within us. Let's consider how these ideas resonate today. In our culture of constant information and overstimulation, Zimi's theater offers us a refuge of calm and contemplation. It teaches us the value of the pause, of empty space, of communication that goes beyond words. And in a world that can sometimes feel gray and monotonous, Kalidasa's theater reminds us of the richness of the human emotional spectrum. It invites us to feel deeply, to connect with joy, sadness, and wonder in a way that everyday life often doesn't allow. It's an antidote to apathy. The true legacy of these masters is not just in the works they wrote, which are treasures of humanity. Their deepest legacy lies in the questions they pose to us about the nature of art. What is theater for? Is it for thinking, for feeling, for escaping, or for finding ourselves? The answer, as both Kalidasa and Zimi suggest, is that theater is for transformation. It is a ritual space where the rules of the ordinary world are suspended, and we can connect with deeper truths about our own existence and our place in the cosmos. It is an experience, not a mere spectacle. In Sanskrit theater, this transformation occurred through emotional catharsis, purification through feeling. The audience left feeling refreshed, as if they had shed an emotional weight and replaced it with a sense of peace and wonder, known as Shanti Rasa. In No, the transformation is more subtle. It is a quieting of the mind, a sharpening of perception. The audience learns to see beauty in impermanence, to feel the weight of history, and to find peace in acceptance. It is a lesson in Zen philosophy expressed through art. Both traditions, despite their enormous stylistic differences, shared a deep reverence for the actor. The actor was not merely a performer, but a priest, a shaman who guided the audience on this spiritual journey. A lifetime of physical and mental training was required to master these arts. Thus, the hidden code we've deciphered today is universal. It is the idea that performing arts can be a tool for introspection and transcendence. Shakespeare makes us understand humanity. Kalidasa and Zimi make us feel it on a more primordial level, beyond intellect. We hope this journey has opened a new door in your appreciation of art. May the next time you hear the word theater, your mind travel not only to Elizabethan England, but also to the palaces of India and the wooden stages of Japan. The world of art is vast and wonderful. The stories we tell ourselves shape our reality. And by exploring the stories of other cultures, we not only learn about them, but also expand the possibilities of our own imagination and our own lives. In Kalidasa's theater, the veil between the human and the divine world is incredibly thin. Gods, nymphs, and sages interact with mortals naturally. His works remind us of a worldview where the magical and the mundane are intertwined, where the entire universe is a stage for divine play. In Zimi's world, the veil that blurs is the one between life and death. Ghosts are not figures of terror, but melancholic presences, bound to earth by a longing or regret. No offers us a way to dialogue with the past and to honor the memory of those who are no longer with us. The beauty of rasa is like that of a ripe fruit, juicy and full of flavor, filling us with satisfaction. It is a direct and complete emotion experienced in the moment. Kalidasa was a master at cultivating these emotional fruits for his audience, offering them a rich and nourishing experience for the soul. The beauty of yugen is like the scent of a flower carried on the night breeze. You cannot see it or touch it, but its subtle presence transforms the atmosphere and fills you with a sweet and profound nostalgia. Zimi was a master at creating these spiritual fragrances, leaving a lasting impression on the spectator's mind. These approaches also required different audiences. Kalidasa's audience had to be sahridaya, meaning one with heart. They needed to be open and empathetic to savor the rasa offered to them. Emotional participation was key. On the other hand, Zimi's audience needed a trained sensitivity for subtlety. They had to be able to read between the lines, to find meaning in the smallest gesture and the longest pause. It was an audience that participated through contemplation and concentration. We might think these art forms are too ancient or strange for us today, but don't we seek rasa when we listen to a song that makes us cry or laugh out loud? Don't we seek yugen in an art house film that leaves us thinking for days? What Kalidasa and Zimi codified are, in reality, fundamental human impulses: the desire to feel intensely and the desire to find meaning in mystery. They simply created incredibly sophisticated systems to evoke these experiences consistently and powerfully. Kalidasa's theater, with its clear structure and focus on emotional resolution, could be seen as a form of therapy. It allows the audience to experience intense emotions in a safe environment, achieving release and balance. It is an art that heals through expression. Zimi's theater, with its slow pace and focus on mindfulness, resembles a meditative practice. It calms the mind's noise and trains us to be present in the here and now, to appreciate the ephemeral beauty of the moment. It is an art that heals through stillness. The next time you feel the need to connect with something larger than yourself, remember these traditions. Remember that for centuries, human beings have created ritual spaces to do just that. Theater is not just a building, it is a technology for transcendence. The language of gestures in Sanskrit theater, the mudras, is so rich it could tell an entire story without a single word. It's a reminder that our bodies are incredibly powerful instruments of communication, often more honest than our words. The use of the chorus in No theater is fascinating. The chorus often speaks for the main character, describing their innermost feelings or narrating their actions. This creates a distance, reminding us that we are watching an archetype, not a literal person, which allows for deeper reflection. Kalidasa celebrated the union of humans with nature. In his plays, trees, rivers, and animals are witnesses and participants in human dramas. There is a sense of cosmic harmony, an idea that we are not separate from the natural world but are part of it. Zimi, influenced by Buddhism, explored the idea of impermanence. Beauty in No is always melancholic because it's tied to the awareness that everything passes. The falling cherry blossom petal, the fading life. Finding beauty in this cycle is a form of wisdom. The training of a Sanskrit actor was holistic. They not only learned to act, but also to sing, dance, and study poetry and grammar. They had to be complete artists to manage the complex machinery of rasa. It was a lifelong vocation. The training of a No actor was passed down from parent to child in lineages that have lasted for centuries. Zimi himself inherited the art from his father, Kanami. This direct transmission ensures the tradition remains pure, but also shrouds it in an aura of secrecy and exclusivity. Kalidasa's theater is full of optimism and faith in cosmic order. His plays often end with reunions, reconciliations, and the restoration of harmony. They reflect the confidence of a civilization at its zenith, a worldview where good ultimately prevails. Zimi's theater, in contrast, is imbued with an elegant resignation. There is often no happy resolution. The ghost does not find peace, it is simply understood. The play offers solace not through a happy ending, but through the beauty of compassion and the acceptance of sorrow. These traditions teach us that there's more than one way to be a genius. Genius can be expansive, verbal, and psychological like Shakespeare, or it can be aesthetic and spiritual like Kalidasa, or it can be minimalist and philosophical like Zimi. Artistic greatness has many faces. So the next time someone declares a work of art universal, it's worth asking, universal for whom? What is cathartic in one culture can be chaotic in another. What is profound in one can be boring in another. True universality lies in the human need to create art, not in a single way of doing it. Sanskrit, the language of Kalidasa, is itself an art form. It is incredibly musical and mathematically precise. The very sonority of the words was an integral part of the theatrical experience, even if you didn't understand every nuance. Sound was part of the rasa. In No, the concept of ma, negative space or pause, is as important as sound or movement. It is in the silence between notes and in the stillness between gestures that Yugen resides. Art is not only in what is done, but in what is not done. A powerful lesson. While Shakespeare's theater often explored the collapse of social and political order, Kalidasa's reaffirmed it. His works celebrated the duties of the king, the virtue of the wife, and the harmony of dharma, the moral order of the universe. It was an art that upheld the world rather than questioning it. Zimi, on the other hand, operated in a more ambiguous space. His theater was not overtly political, but by focusing on ghosts and the inner world, he created a space of refuge from the brutal civil wars of his time. It was a form of spiritual resistance through beauty. It's easy to romanticize these traditions, but it's also important to remember they were elite arts. Sanskrit theater was for the court and Brahmins. No was the art of the samurai class. The average peasant in India or Japan would likely never have seen these plays. However, their ideas, rasa and yugen, filtered into other, more popular art forms, such as folk dance, poetry, and painting. These aesthetic concepts became part of the cultural DNA of their civilizations, shaping their way of understanding beauty and emotion. Kalidasa's theater is a theater of light. Even in sadness, there is a warmth, a sensuality, and and a faith in life. It is a sun-drenched world full of lotus flowers, mangoes, and the sound of birds. It is an art that says yes to life in all its fullness. Zimi's theater is a theater of shadows. Beauty is crepuscular, found in twilight, fog, or moonlight. It is a world of pines, cypresses, and moss-covered rocks. It is an art that finds beauty in melancholy and in the acceptance of darkness. In summary, we have journeyed through two theatrical codes that prioritize experience over narrative. Kalidasa, the master of rasa, taught us to feel. Zimi, the master of yugen, taught us to perceive. Both showed us that the stage can be a portal to another state of being. By understanding these other languages of theater, we don't diminish Shakespeare. On the contrary, we place him in a richer global context. We see that his genius is one among many, and that the impulse to create worlds on a stage is one of humanity's most fundamental and diverse activities. Kalidasa's rasa and Zimi's yugen are reminders that theater, in its deepest essence, is a ritual designed to connect us with our own emotions, with others, and with the great mysteries of existence. It is a code worth continuing to decipher. Think of the impact of this. While the European Renaissance rediscovered Greek drama and laid the groundwork for Shakespeare, focusing on the individual and rhetoric, in India and Japan, there were centuries-old traditions focused on collective experience and transcendence. These are two completely distinct evolutionary paths for art. The true hidden code, the final twist of our story, is that these forms of theater are not relics of the past. They are instruction manuals. They teach us how to design experiences. In a content-saturated world, their lessons on creating atmosphere, evoking pure emotions, and valuing silence are more relevant than ever. Kalidasa's theater teaches us to build vibrant worlds that envelop the senses. Zimi's theater teaches us to create spaces of stillness that focus the mind. Both show us that the greatest special effect is not visual, but emotional and psychological. Thus, the theater that goes beyond Shakespeare is not just a historical curiosity. It is a resource, a source of inspiration for artists, creators, and anyone seeking to communicate on a deeper level. The code has been revealed. Now we can use it. We've traveled from Kalidasa's India to Zimi's Japan, deciphering the codes of rasa and yugen. We've seen that theater can be both an emotional feast and a silent meditation. We hope this journey has expanded your artistic universe. With this, we conclude our journey today. We've opened a window into theatrical worlds that, though less known in the West, offer a depth and beauty that can enrich our understanding of art and ourselves. They are treasures of global cultural heritage. Theater, in all its forms, is a mirror of the human soul. By looking at the reflections of Kalidasa and Zimi, we not only see their worlds, but also discover new facets of our own. It's a dialogue across centuries that remains alive every time a curtain rises or a mask is donned. Thank you for joining us on this profound exploration. Your curiosity is the engine that drives this channel and allows us to continue unearthing these gems of human knowledge. It has been a true honor to share this time and space with all of you. If you've been as fascinated by this journey as we have, please consider subscribing so you don't miss our upcoming intellectual adventures. Every subscription helps us continue creating rigorous and passionate content. And don't forget to hit the like button if you learned something new. Now, we'd love to hear your thoughts. What impacted you most, Kalidasa's vibrant rasa or Zimi's subtle yugen? What other theatrical tradition from around the world would you like us to explore? Leave your comments below. We read every single one. Until next time, curious minds.